Welcome to SVGTV News for Wednesday, May 12, 2016. I am Jennifer Richardson with the headlines. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines earlier today signed an air services agreement with the Arab nation of Qatar. Speaking at the signing ceremony at Cabinet Room, Prime Minister Dr. Afghan Saab says his government has signed several similar agreements with other nations and thanked the technical teams from Qatar and SVG for their hard work on the agreement. Dr. Gansal said the agreement creates the framework for the possible operation of air services between Qatar and SVG.
As you are aware, the construction of the Argyle International Airport is at hand. And the opening, the operations, also just a little later, but also at hand. And it is important for us to have agreements, services agreements, with a number of countries with which we are friendly and which have shown an interest in the development of our country. And for us to have this as the framework for the actual possible operation of air services.
The head of Agreements and International Relations of the Department of Air Transport and Airport Affairs of Qatar Civil Aviation Authority, Mohammed Faleh Ashari, said he is proud to sign such an agreement which would allow designated airlines to operate between Qatar and SVG.
It's my pleasure to be here today at the beautiful city of Kingston. As you are aware, we are signing the air services agreement today between the state of Qatar and the St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which will allow the designated airline to operate any number of frequencies between the state of Qatar and the St. Vincent without any restriction. Mr. Prime Minister, we are proud to sign this such as agreement with the state of Qatar as the first Arab country. Finally, we wish for your country prosperity and progress. Thank you very much.
Friday, May 27th, 2016 is the date finally set to hear matters in the determination of 2 election petitions before the court. At that time, Justice Brian Cutter will determine if the case brought by the NDP against the ruling Unity Labour Party and the Electoral Office will be struck out or will go forward. At a hearing today at the High Court in Kingstown, Justice Cutler was of the view that the petitions can be most efficiently and expeditiously dealt with if the preliminary issues raised are heard in a court of appeal. Lawyer for the government and the Electoral Office, Queen's Counsel Anthony Estefan, was still adamant that the matter should be struck out as it was a waste of the court's time and resources. He, however, agreed with the judge's decision to go forward, but was confident that the opposition New Democratic Party had no real strong case and would sink like the Bismarck and Titanic ocean liners.
I think it's the right ruling for the judge to have made.
And how is that?
Because it's the right ruling for him to make.
And what about your arguments that, it's waste of time and...
That is precisely, I just think it's the right thing to do in the light of his indications on the security. To have to expend thousands, tens of thousands, maybe more than that, in paying lawyers and getting documents done and bringing in witnesses. An extraordinary waste of time if the judge is right. And I don't understand the resistance. I really don't understand the resistance.
What about Starkey's argument that, they have a strong case?
They said the Bismarck would never sink. And they said, what's the big liner that sink?
Titanic?
They said the Titanic wouldn't sink.
Giving his view on the judgment, lawyer for the opposition NDP, Queen's Counsel Stanley Starkey John, said he's confident that judgment will go in their favor on May 27th and expressed confidence in the justice system.
And given that the judge expressed the view in his judgment, in the interlocutory judgment, that if their applications are made at the commencement of the trial, they have been uncooperative in having the issues sent up to the Court of Appeal, because they are hoping that when the court convenes the next time in relation to these matters, that the judge will make a determination that the matter should be struck out. I am not myself so sure that that is the intention of the court, but we will await to see how the court chooses to deal with the matter when it comes back on the 27th.
Walking out from the court with a smile on his face, Member of Parliament for Central Leeward Louis Straker says he is pleased that the court matter is going forward. The MP says he is ready for the matter to be settled and is anxious to have a final determination to the court case.
I'm happy and I feel good about it. I think I can't say I understand all the details of the law because I'm not trained in that field, but it seems to me that things are moving in our direction. The fact that the lawyer for the petitioners didn't seem too happy about it is an indication that we should be happy about it, and I'm satisfied.
Reassuring his constituents in Central Leeward that he will remain as solid as a rock in his representation to them, Sir Louis remarked that he is the rightful representative of the area, despite disapproval from the opposition.
Opposition has been trying very hard to get this seat. I don't know why what they have with Central Leeward, but as long as I'm a candidate, I would always be elected in Central Leeward. And the constituents of Central Leeward should have no fear. What they decided at the polls would remain firm and solid as a rock. It's not going to be changed. The people of Central Leeward have spoken. That is their decision. The numbers are there. You can't fight with the numbers. Those who were agents for the other side, they were there to hear, to look at the interests of their candidates, and they have not made any decision that something wrong had happened. So the numbers still stand. As to the procedure, as the procedure as to how the election was conducted, that I have nothing to do with that. That's a determination for the court.
Meantime, the opposition candidate for Central Leeward in 2015 general elections, Benjamin Exeter, says though a final date for the determination of the case has been set, he is not taking anything for granted. Exeter claims the lawyers for the other side are scared to have the matter go forward because, according to him, they know that the evidence of fraud is strong.
Well, I'm a little bit relieved that we finally have a date going forward to hear the petition, but I don't think this is going to stop them from keep trying to have it thrown out, because they know the evidence that we have, and there's no way they would like to have to come to court. I think there's a lot at stake here. It's not just a matter of a court trial. I think the Prime Minister's legacy is at stake here, because no one wants to go down as a fraudulent government, after spending so many years in office. So I am really happy we finally have a date, and but I don't think it'll be easy in any stretch going forth. Not at all. I'm not taking it lightly, because I know they will try anything and everything to make sure that the case is dismissed and thrown out.
Exeter also claims that his rival, Sir Louis Straker, is bluffing about his confidence and challenged him to a by-election.
You may be solid as a rock, but dynamite can move rocks. And you see, it's not about me, it's about the people of Central Leeward. And when you have compelling evidence to show that the laws of the RPA was not followed. Now, if you can't trust the process, how can you trust the system? If you have ballots which should not be counted based on the presentation of the ballots and not being validated by the presiding officer being counted, and they are counted. I mean, if I was Mr. Straker, I would say, you know what, let's redo this. If I'm so sure, I'm so certain about the outcome, what I did, I said let's redo it. I challenge him to say let's redo it. It's a by-election essentially, if he's so certain about it.
Leader of the New Democratic Party, Annie Muster, says he is looking forward to having the matter dealt with later this month. Yusuf says it is necessary to have the issues heard before a court of law so that the people can hear the details of the matter.
Now we have a date for the petition to be heard. The date is the 27th of May. I still expect the other side to try different ways to try and block that, but we now know what the date is for the petition. Because it has been held back for a long time, and steps have been made, steps were made again today. But the point is we now have a date, and I'm happy that we have a date. I'm happy that we have a date for the petition, because people saw this thing hanging on for months and months and months, and I still expect to try things, but the judge has now set a date. We'll then work with that.
The spread of respiratory infections continues to be a challenge here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. In an attempt to raise the level of awareness of this issue, the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment will host a health fair at the Kingston Vegetable Market tomorrow, Friday, May 13th, beginning at 9 a.m. The fair, which will be coordinated by the professionals in the Health Promotion Unit, will highlight common ways in which respiratory infections can be spread and the measures which can be taken in this regard, among which are proper hand washing techniques and hand sanitization. Respiratory infections can be caused by airborne viruses. Most often, the virus spreads from person to person in respiratory droplets from sneezing or coughing. Transmission of the virus can also occur due to poor hand washing techniques. Some common respiratory infections include the common cold, tuberculosis, TB, flu, and H1N1 swine flu. The Methodist Church will host its Aldersgate and Empowerment Week this Saturday, 14th May, to Sunday, 22nd May, under the theme, The Essence of Being. Superintendent to the Kingstown to Chateaubelair Circuit, Reverend Adolph Davis, says the event will commence with a marriage seminar this Saturday at the Methodist Church Hall to help couples energize their relationship. Reverend Davis says all events are free and open to every denomination. He, however, requests that couples call the church to register so that they can be accommodated.
And a number of couples have already been registering, and last year we did have as well a lovely experience, and again Pastor Hestick, because these are areas that he has been very strong in. He was the facilitator, and so it is for any couple. It's not for Methodist couples. It's not a Methodist time. It is for any and everyone, because we have recognized that there are real challenges that our marriages face, and apart from the challenges, we also realize even if you have a great marriage, it certainly is to your benefit to have a greater marriage, and so we really believe that these opportunities will provide occasion for families and for couples to really strengthen their relationship, to give it a little injection, to have a moment where you have a little oomph to the experience. In other words, it really will do your marriage well.
Reverend Davis says that on Sunday 15th, the church will hold a prayer caravan, which will be a type of whistle stop beginning from Brighton on the windward side and Chateaubelair on the leeward side, and will converge at Chauncey. He says it is critical to saturate the nation with prayer, particularly at the festive carnival season.
As they're saying, it is so timely to have this activity in the carnival season when so much reveling, so much loss of focus, the values that we celebrate and promote are so unhealthy, and this is really a wonderful opportunity to be covering the nation in prayer. And so what the prayer caravan really is just a mobile time in prayer. And so we begin in Chateaubelair on one end, we begin Brighton on the other end, and we converge in Chauncey. And by and large, all we're doing is, as we travel along, we're praying, and we stop at points and we pray. And so it's really just a moving prayer experience. And we really believe that it's critical for us to be praying for the nation in various ways, various approaches, various methods, because our nation really needs to be saturated with prayer.
Trinidadian author David Mohammed says, in today's society, fathers need to play an active role in their sons' lives and try to be a positive influence to them more so than ever. Mohammed was a panelist on last Sunday's Hit Talk program, where the issue of conflict resolution among youth was discussed. According to Mohammed, there are several types of relationships that can be developed among a father and son that can lead to positive behavior and ultimately a better society.
5 types of relationships or dimensions of a father to a son that we can all practice. The first is the leader-follower relationship. The father must be like a leader, the son must be like a follower. And for that, the father must have the trust and respect of his son, and he must see him in the capacity of one who is worthy of being followed. The second dimensional relationship is that of a mentor or apprentice. The mentor or the father is the example who must explain good conduct and character by demonstrating it. The third kind of relationship is that of a teacher-student, where the father must be a beacon of knowledge and learning, providing information and encouraging critical thinking to his son.
He further went on to speak of 2 more types of relationships, which he says can play a very important role in a successful father-son relationship.
Fourth kind of relationship is the father-son relationship of a manager/client. The father must be able to source expertise and find the appropriate training and resources for the development and education of his son. The father must monitor the progress and success of his child and be at least 1 step ahead in finding out which schools or colleges or universities that the son should seek entry into. And finally, the 5th dimension of relationship between father and son should be that of a coach to an athlete, where the father must push his son to the limit and get the best out of him and introduce his son to the greatest of his own potential.
And local consultant Fillmore Isaac said, while there may be a lot of young men in society who get involved in violent acts, there is still hope for them, and with the right nurturing, mentoring and guidance, they could be steered in the right direction.
I want to just say all is not lost for St. Vincent and Grenadines. We have a number of outstanding young men, and we have to continue to groom those young men and to look at those who are dropping through the cracks, so to speak. I believe intentionally we should begin to look again at our family life, how we socialize, what we can do to enrich that socialization, and what we can do to correct some of the things that are not being done. The modeling, I would insist that we need to look at the modeling. Some people call it mentorship. Particularly, I would want to encourage that we look at the school system, intentionally bring back or encourage or whatever it is we need to do to bring back more male figures inside that.
Still in a celebratory mood from last Saturday's double win in the CDC New Song competition, Aurella Cahalia Beach says being committed to her craft is the secret to her success. The radio announcer with sister station Hits FM first copped the New Song Calypso category in 2011, the New Song Raga Soca in 2012, third place Raga Soca in 2014, again won the Raga Soca New Song competition in 2015, and this year took the Raga and Soca categories in the competition. Cahalia admitted that she was not feeling her best that night, but took the opportunity to thank everyone for their support.
I feel good. I work very hard. I've worked very hard. I continue to work very hard at my craft, and I presented 2 songs that I thought the judges would appreciate and would fit into the criteria of what they're looking for. And even though I was not very well because I was sick, I performed at the best of my ability and got the judges nod. So I'm very happy about that.
You make music that seems to be timeless. How important is that?
It's very important. I always say that I don't want to create music that just lasts a season and then afterwards you can't hear, it's not relevant to what's happening. So my management and I have been but our endeavor is to create music that has longevity.
The singer announced that she has been signed with international superstar Kevin Little's Tarakan Records and that the production of music videos is in the making, and credits her new management for their guidance.
Right now we are working on a music video for A. A has been creating some ripples in Germany, in parts of Europe so far, also in Baltimore and parts of Miami. Pretty soon, or let me just say it right now anyway, I recently signed with Tarragon Records, so they have some interest. We're going to be doing something with because they think that it has international appeal, so we're doing the video, and then we have a few opportunities that we're looking into. Also, my latest single, Costume, also, which is a fusion, which is I'm a fusion artist right now. Costume is kind of going well so far. It's going to pick up momentum eventually, and we're going to be hopefully doing a video for that as well soon.
Ricardo McPhee, a 28-year-old laborer of Redemption Shops, who is no stranger to the law, has been arrested and charged for having in his possession one semi-automatic pistol along with 50 rounds of ammunition on May 4th, 2016 in capital Kingstown. McPhee was reportedly intercepted in Kingstown on the date in question after police went to the Rose Place area to carry out investigation with regards to a vessel that had come ashore, of which McPhee was supposedly an occupant. All of the occupants of the boat fled the scene, but McPhee was the most unfortunate one to be caught. He appeared at the Serious Offences Court before Chief Magistrate Rayshon Brown and maintained his innocence on the charges. However, Senior Prosecutor Adolphus Delpesh objected to his bail and stated that the firearm that McPhee was found with was registered in Grenada, and both Grenadian and Vincentian police are investigating the matter. He also noted that McPhee's life has been threatened and he would be safer being on remand at the prison. McPhee is expected to return to court on May 17, 2016, when his bail will be reviewed. And the 20-year-old Kevin Hadaway, a laborer of Otley Hall, is now before the court on the charge of having in his possession 2,223 grams of marijuana with intent to supply to another. Hadaway was reportedly intercepted by the police with the drug at the Otley Hall public road while they were on a stop and search mission over the weekend. When Hadaway appeared at the Serious Offences Court, he pleaded not guilty to the charge and was allowed bail in the sum of $7,000 with one surety. He is scheduled to return to court on July 28, 2016 for trial.